Okay, welcome. Today we're doing a deep dive into a really foundational text, 2 Chronicles chapter 1.
That's right. We're looking squarely at the beginning of King Solomon's reign.
Exactly. It's this pivotal moment and interaction with God described right here, and then, well, what happens immediately after.
It really sets the stage, doesn't it? His choices, God's response.
And the results described in the text are quite something.
So, right off the bat, the chapter tells us Solomon is firmly established. He's not shaky.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
It says the Lord his God was with him, made him exceedingly great already. So he starts strong.
definitely. And then the first big thing he does, he calls this huge meeting
Yeah, all the leaders of Israel,
Yeah.
commanders, judges, you name it. And they all go somewhere specific.
to Gibeon.
Gibeon. Why
Yeah.
there? What was so important about Gibeon at this point?
Well, Gibeon still had the original tent of meeting, the one Moses made. Hugely significant.
Okay, right. And the bronze altar, too.
Yes, the one Bezalel crafted. Now, David had moved the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem. But these other incredibly important items, central to their worship history, they were still at Gibeon. It was a major high place.
Got it. So a place with deep religious roots. And what does Solomon do there at this key spot?
He goes to that bronze altar, the one before the tent of meeting, and offers 1,000 burnt offerings.
1,000.
1,000. It's an immense number. Really shows, profound dedication right at the start of his rule.
Wow. Okay. And then that night, something happens.
Yes, the divine encounter. God appears to Solomon right there in Gibeon.
It makes him an incredible offer.
Pretty much the ultimate offer. Ask for whatever you want me to give you. Just like that.
So the big question, what does Solomon ask for? This feels like the core of it.
It really is. First, Solomon acknowledges God's kindness to his father, David, and then he talks about his own situation.
The weight of the job, basically.
Exactly. He says God made him king over this huge population as numerous as the dust of the earth. Overwhelming.
So his request is tied to that.
Directly. He asks specifically for wisdom and knowledge. Why? So he can lead this people. He even says, how else can anyone govern such a great people?
So it's not about him personally. It's about the task of governing.
Precisely. And the text makes a point of saying God is pleased because of what he didn't ask for.
Right. He didn't ask for wealth or honor or, for his enemies to drop dead or a long life for himself.
None of the typical kingly requests, you might say. His focus was purely on being able to govern God's people properly.
And because he asked for that, God's response is, well, more than he asked for.
That's the really interesting part in this narrative. God says, yes, you get the wisdom and knowledge, but because you asked for this, and not for yourself, I'm also giving you wealth, riches, and honor like no king before you ever had and none after you ever will. Unprecedented.
So the text draws a direct line. Selfless request for wisdom leads to wisdom, plus basically everything else.
According to this passage, absolutely. Prioritizing the job brings wisdom and these immense material blessings too.
And you see that immediately when he gets back to Jerusalem, right? The chapter pivots straight to the results.
It does. It details this explosion of national strength and wealth. Militarily, he suddenly has 1,400 chariots, 12,000 horses.
Huge numbers. And not just in Jerusalem.
No, kept in special chariot cities too. And economically, it says silver and gold became like stones in Jerusalem.
As common as stones.
Yeah.
And cedar wood, too.
Yeah, valuable cedar becomes as common as basic sycamore fig trees. Just unbelievable abundance described here.
And it even mentions the trade, the importing of horses.
Right, from Egypt and Q. It even gives prices 600 silver shekels for a chariot, 150 for a horse. Significant sums back then.
So they were importing expensive military hardware.
Yes, and then exporting them too to the Hittite and Aramean kings. So a major player in regional trade as well.
So wrapping up this chapter, 2 Chronicles 1 really paints this picture of Solomon starting his reign by choosing wisdom for leadership.
And according to this account, receiving not just that wisdom, but also unparalleled wealth and power as a direct consequence.
It's quite a narrative, which leaves us with something to think about. This chapter suggests Solomon asked only for wisdom to serve his people, yet he was given immense personal wealth and military might. What might this text be suggesting about the connection, if any, between leadership focused on others and, well, worldly success?